Welcome to today's show. My name is John. As always, you can subscribe to the show on iTunes or follow the links to social media in the podcast show notes. So please subscribe when you're finished listening. You can also go to snarkymoviereviews.com to read notes, bios, and other random movie thoughts. Today's movie is Planet of the Apes, 1968. Because of where I grew up, I missed the summer of love. But I lived through a time from 1968 to 73 where five Planet of the Apes movies came out. Of course they got progressively worse, but that's not the point. How often do you get to see a movie and its 4 sequels in a 6-year period? I'm still waiting to catch the last of those mocking whatever movies. Anyway, these movies represent a pretty exciting jump in the science fiction genre. The premise is not so much evolution or de-evolution, but role reversal. An article by Peter M. Nicholasslag does a pretty good job showing how the movie relates to the war in Vietnam and the racial struggles at home. He takes it through the other 4 films as well. This movie is listed in the 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die, Steven Schneider, editor, and it was in the top 400 of the AFI's selection list of the top 100 films of all time. Rod Serling of The Twilight Zone worked on the screenplay but had to turn it over to someone else to finish. He is responsible for the final scene. Before we go any further, I want to take a second to discuss apes versus monkeys. The most obvious difference between the two is that monkeys have tails while apes do not. Great apes, also known as hominids, include orangutans, gorillas, chimpanzees, bonobos, and the genus Homo. That last group includes us and all our ancient ancestors. We can now jump right into our actors. We have 2 show veterans today. Actors.
Right, and I'm a Shakespearean actor.
Charlton Heston plays time-traveling astronaut George Taylor. Heston was covered in episode 44, The Omega Man, 1971. James Whitmore played an orangutan that is president of the Assembly. Whitmore was covered in episode 50, Battleground, 1949. Roddy McDowall played the role of Cornelius, a chimpanzee archaeologist. And that's not as rare as you might think, metaphorically speaking. McDowall was born in England in 1928. His mother pushed him into an acting career, and by the age of 5 he was in Murder in the Family, 1938. When World War II began, McDowall and some of his family moved to the U.S. It wasn't long before the child star was in the John Ford-directed How Green Was My Valley, 1941. He was in other family movies such as My Friend Flicka, 1943, Lassie Come Home, 1943, and Thunderhead, Son of Flicka, 1945. At 18, he moved to the East Coast and acted on Broadway and in Shakespeare festivals. He was extremely prolific in television and had an amazing movie career as an adult. He continued to work in family films such as That Darn Cat, 1965, The Greatest Story Ever Told, 1965, The Adventures of Bullwhip Griffin, 1967, Bedknobs and Broomsticks, 1971, The Black Hole, 1979, and The Cat from Outer Space, 1978. However, he was not short of adult material, starring in movies such as The Longest Day, 1962, with every other actor they could catch, Cleopatra, 1963, Lord Love-a-Duck, a Western, 5-Card Stud, 1968, The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean, 1972, The Poseidon Adventure, 1972, Dirty Mary and Crazy Larry, 1974, Funny Lady, 1975, the sequel to Funny Girl, 1968, Circle of Iron, 1978, a kung fu film ruined by Jeff Cooper, Overboard, 1978, The Second Jungle Book, Mowgli and Baloo, 1997, and as a voice actor in A Bug's Life, 1998. However, to me, his greatest roles were in 4 of the 5 ape movies: Planet of the Apes, 1968, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, 1971, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, 1972, and Battle for the Planet of the Apes, 1973. I would be a horrible person if I left out his role as Peter Vincent, the late-night horror movie show host turned vampire killer in Fright Night, 1985, and Fright Night Part 2, 1988. McDowall died in 1998. Kim Hunter played the role of Zira, a chimpanzee biologist. Hunter was born in 1922 in Detroit. Hunter was very shy as a child and was drawn out by a local drama teacher, Miss Carmen. She studied at the Actors Studio and began working in theater by late 1939. In 1947, she played Stella on Broadway in A Streetcar Named Desire. Hunter studied at the Pasadena Playhouse as well, and while performing in a play, an RKO talent scout spotted her and she signed a 7-year contract. Her first film was the film noir The Seventh Victim, 1943. Later, she reprised her theater role of Stella in the film A Streetcar Named Desire, 1951. For this role, Hunter won a Best Supporting Actress Oscar. She was in another film noir, Deadline USA, 1952, with Humphrey Bogart. In the 1950s, Hunter was caught up in the net cast by those bastards at the House Un-American Activities Committee, HUAC. It took until 1956 before she started getting roles again. She was quite successful on television, and her last movie role was Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, 1997. Hunter died in 2002 at the age of 79. One of the most intriguing actors in this movie was Maurice Evans as orangutan Dr. Zaius. Evans was born in 1901 in England. As a youth, he worked in his father's play and sang in the London Choir. He made his professional debut in 1926. He struggled in the theater, but had some long runs. His English film career never got off the ground. He traveled to the U.S. around 1934 and made his Broadway debut in 1936. In America, he became a master player of the works of Shakespeare and Shaw. By the time World War II began, Evans was a U.S. citizen and joined the Army, where he worked in theater in the Pacific region. Following the war, Evans began appearing in movies that include Gilbert and Sullivan, 1953, The Warlord, 1965, Rosemary's Baby, 1968, Planet of the Apes, 1968, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, 1970, and The Jerk, 1979. However, Evans was more successful on television, and he brought Shakespeare to that medium. I remember him most for playing the snobby warlock father of Samantha, who always appeared in evening clothes on television's Bewitched, 1964-71. Evans died in England in 1989 at the age of 87. The absolutely beautiful Linda Harrison played Nova, a mute human in the ape world. Harrison was born in 1945 in Maryland. At 16, she won her local beauty contest and became a model in the Garment District of New York. She returned to Maryland and won a state beauty contest before heading to California for the Miss International contest. During the contest, she was spotted by a 20th Century Fox talent scout. She did a little movie and television work, and by 1968 was dating the studio head, Richard D. Zanuck. Apparently, she was pregnant and showing near the end of the filming for Planet of the Apes 1968. She was married to Zanuck for a decade and made a total of 16 movies. Woodrow Parfley played orangutan Dr. Maximus. Parfley was born in 1922 in New York City.
I'm walking here! I'm walking here!
He worked on Broadway, television, and movies. His specialty was slightly odd characters. He had a unique look, and he played that to his advantage. Parfley's best-known films are The Warlord, 1965, The Flim Flam Man, 1967, Papillon, 1973, Planet of the Apes, 1968, Dirty Harry, 1971, The Outlaw Josie Wales, 1976, Used Cars, 1980, and The Sting 2, 1983. He also acted in the short-lived television show The Second 100 Years, 1967-68, about a man that survives freezing for over 50 years and comes to live with his son, who is now 30 years older than his dad. Buck Carter played the role of Gorilla Julius. Carter was born in 1922 in Michigan. He had a total of 77 acting credits, and his best-known movies are Planet of the Apes, 1968, Cool Hand Luke, 1967, The Outlaw Josie Wales, 1976, and The Rock, 1996. He died in 2016. It is strange to have two The Outlaw Josie Wales 1976 connections in one review. Apes? Josie Wales? I'll have to ponder that. Story.
Let me explain. No, there is too much. Let me sum up.
The movie begins on a spaceship cruising above the speed of light. Colonel George Taylor, Charlton Heston, is talking and recording as we learn the backstory. They have been gone for 6 months, and around 700 years have passed on Earth due to time dilation. What I like best about this part is he is smoking a cigar, and at one point he sets it down on the console of the ship. He gives himself a shot and wonders if Earthmen have stopped making war and starving their neighbors.
I feel lonely.
That's about it.
Tell me, though, does man, that marvel of the universe, that glorious paradox who sent me to the stars, still make war against his brother? Keep his neighbor's children starving?
Taylor goes back to where the other 3 crew members are already in stasis. He looks at the 2 males and then takes a long look at the female crew member before entering his own stasis chamber. Suddenly, the ship plummets through the Earth's atmosphere and crashes into a lake. The stasis automatically unlocks, and Taylor watches the 2 men rise, and he sees that they have beards. They are shocked when they look for the female crew member, and she is dead because her stasis chamber was cracked. Water starts pouring into the ship, and Taylor orders Dodge, Jeff Burton, to check the air quality as Landon, Robert Gunner, tries to send a message. The ship's power fails, and Taylor, Landon, and Dodge abandon ship. Taylor looks at the ship's clock on the way out, and the year shows 3978. They have been traveling in space for over 2,000 years. The 3 men have only aged about 20 months. As the 3 astronauts paddle away, the ship sinks. Taylor notes matter-of-factly that they are here to stay. The crash was shot at Lake Powell, and the land around the water is very rocky and looks like it wouldn't support life. While they are rowing, Taylor says they are near a star in the Orion system, but Landon challenges him because he didn't have time to read the tapes. They take stock of their supplies and have food and water for 3 days, a medical kit, a gun, and a TX-9, whatever that is. Taylor tells them the clock reading and says that they have been away from Earth for 2,000 years. Dodge confirms that the soil is barren. Landon leaves behind an American flag and it cracks Taylor up. The 3 head away from the lake looking for life. I want to take a minute to mention the soundtrack. It's discordant and jarring. It really sets the mood for a world turned upside down. Some of the sounds were made using kitchen mixing bowls. Director Franklin J. Schaffner used strange camera angles, including handheld shots, to visually present this effect. They see lightning flashing, and it has the color of atomic sci-fi clouds. Taylor is very cavalier and insensitive to his fellow travelers. Finally, they run into a plant. They promptly dig it up and kill it.
Life. Where there's one, there's another, and another, and another. Let's find them.
Shadowy figures skirt along the rocks above the walkers. The land becomes more vegetative. They find a line of scarecrows blocking their way and know the planet has intelligent life. Beyond the scarecrows are lakes and waterfalls. Taylor charges ahead. The 3 men immediately strip and jump into the water before checking for alien penis-devouring fish. Landon finds human footprints on the beach. Their clothes and supplies are stolen by the shadowy figures. The 3 astronauts follow the thieves. As they travel into the forest, they see the planet's people. Thank God they find their clothes and Heston gets dressed. This was his only nude scene in the movie. The planet people are harvesting food from a tree next to a corn patch.
We got off at the wrong stop.
You're supposed to be the optimist, Landon.
Look on the bright side. This is the best they've got around here. In 6 months, we'll be running this planet.
The planet folks freeze for a moment as they hear a horn blow. They all flee, and Taylor and company flee as well. Beaters are flushing the humans forward as mounted gorillas fire at them with rifles. And that's gorilla, not gorilla. Thanks, Captain Ron. Landon is clubbed and captured, while Dodge, the black guy, is shot and killed. Sci-Fi used to be as rough on the black guys as it was on the red shirts. Eventually, Taylor is shot in the neck and captured as well. While it is clear that the apes are capturing some humans, they are shooting others for sport. They later pose with their trophies and take pictures. The humans of the planet cannot speak, but the apes can. Taylor and the captured humans are taken back to a city that has a more or less Flintstone look to it. Taylor is taken to a vet where his neck wound is tended to by a chimpanzee. A beautiful human woman is there as well and is used to give him a blood transfusion. A female chimpanzee, Dr. Zira, Kim Hunter, runs the lab. Her assistant gorilla, Julius, Buck Carterlane, doesn't really like working with humans. Gorillas do the manual tasks like hosing down the, quote, animals. Heston was sick during the washing scene and suffered greatly. Zira tries to get the humans to speak for treats. Zira calls Taylor Bright Eyes because of his piercing blue eyes. He tries to talk, but the throat wound prevents it. Taylor grabs her just as orangutan Dr. Zayas, Maurice Evans, enters. Zira tries to get Taylor to perform for Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas warns Zira about heresy and says he considers humans more of a pest that need to be exterminated.
Perhaps he understood.
Man has no understanding. He can be taught a few simple tricks, nothing more. As man is a nuisance. He eats up his food supplies in the forest, then migrates to our green belts and ravages our crops. The sooner he is exterminated, the better.
Zira has the beautiful woman, who would later be called Nova, Linda Harrison, as a mate for Taylor. The structure of the ape caste system is slowly revealed. At the top are orangutans, who are the government and ministry, gorillas, who are the military and laborers, and chimpanzees that are the scientists and intellectuals. Later we find that chimps are also pacifist. Taylor and Nova are moved to an outside compound with other humans. Zira's fiancé, Cornelius, Roddy McDowall, comes to visit. He is a chimpanzee archaeologist. Nova follows Taylor as Zira and Cornelius come to visit. Taylor starts writing in the sand. Dr. Zayas arrives and he and Cornelius talk about the forthcoming archaeological expedition.
Hey, watch out. Here comes number one.
Something's bothering him. He's been trying around the lab for the last 2 days. Good morning, Dr. Zayas. You, know my, Dr. Cornelius, my fiancé?
Of course, the young ape with a shovel. I hear you're planning another archaeological expedition.
With the Academy's approval, sir.
The project will require my support, of course.
I hope I may count on it, sir.
Cornelius, a friendly warning. As you dig for artifacts, be sure you don't bury your reputation.
Dr. Zayas warns Cornelius to make sure that when he's digging for artifacts, he doesn't bury his reputation. Good advice. Nova wipes the marks away and another human male attacks Taylor. Gorillas break up the fight with fire. Dr. Zayas requests Cornelius come to talk about the expedition to the Forbidden Zone, the desert where the astronauts crashed. However, he sees the writing before he leaves and wipes the rest of it out with his cane. Taylor is taken to an isolation cage. When Zira gets too close, he grabs her pad and pen. He manages to write his name before Julius beats him and takes the pad away. When Zira sees the writing, she takes Taylor back to her house. Cornelius doesn't believe it even though he sees Taylor write. Taylor shows them on a map where the ship crashed and it may appear to be the U.S. eastern seaboard. Cornelius believes that his expedition into the Forbidden Zone may prove apes have evolved from a lower order, humans. Dr. Zayas arrives at the house along with Dr. Maximus, Woodrow Parfray, who is the Commissioner of Animal Affairs. Read that as humans. Taylor is taken back to the compound wearing a Hannibal Lecter mask. Dr. Zayas almost finds Taylor's writing. Back in his cage, Taylor overhears the gorillas saying Dr. Zayas has ordered that Taylor is to be castrated. Taylor overpowers Julius and escapes into the village. A wild human running through the town scares the apes. Taylor hides in a church during a gorilla funeral. Taylor escapes and runs through the market as gorillas on horseback give chase. He finally runs into a museum. There are exhibits of stuffed humans, much like used to be in the caveman sections of history museums. Finally, Taylor runs into the stuffed body of Dodge. Outside again, he is overwhelmed and captured. At this point, his voice returns and he cries out, "Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty apes." This famous line is number 66 on the American Film Institute's 100 Greatest Movie Quotes of All Time. Taylor is returned to the cage with Nova. The gorillas hose the pair down and remove Nova from the cage to a cage across the road. Taylor gets misty for Earth in the old days. Shortly, a group of apes come and get Taylor, and deliver him to a large hall or courtroom. Zira and Cornelius come in, and Taylor says it has been weeks. They tell him it is a hearing, just as Dr. Zaius, Dr. Maximus, and the president of the ministry, James Whitmore, come in. There is an orangutan prosecutor, Dr. Honoris, James Daly, and the chimps are the defense. Taylor tries to speak, but they gag him. The charge is that the Almighty created apes and that studying humans is a crime. Honorius says that Zira has created Taylor through surgery. Honorius quizzes him on religion, and Taylor does not have the answers.
Tell the court, Bright Eyes, what is the second article of faith?
I know nothing of your culture. I admit that.
Of course, he doesn't know our culture because he cannot think. Tell us, why are all apes created equal?
Some apes, it seems, are more equal than others.
Taylor's defense is read by Cornelius to the tribunal. They all go outside to look at the other captured humans. Taylor sees Langdon in the crowd and goes to him. However, Langdon has been lobotomized by the apes. Taylor freaks out, calling Dr. Zaius a bloody baboon and attacking him.
Oh, they cut him. Did you know about this?
No, I swear, I never saw this man before.
But then, you did it. You cut up his brain, you bloody baboon!
He is quickly put back under control. They drag Taylor back into the courtroom. Dr. Zaius says Landon was wounded and never could speak. When Taylor calls him a liar, he is gagged. Cornelius states to the council that Taylor could not have come from another planet, but he did come from the Forbidden Zone because he accurately described it, and Cornelius has been there. President of the ministry takes exception when he finds Cornelius has been to the Forbidden Zone. Dr. Zaius claims Cornelius exceeded his orders. Cornelius says he found evidence of a simian culture that predates the ape culture. When Zira tries to explain that there is no reason why humans can't talk, the three orangutans do the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil thing. This was something the actors did as a gag, but it was left in because it was funny. The tribunal charges Zira and Cornelius with contempt of court, malicious mischief, and scientific heresy. Taylor is taken to Dr. Zaius' private room. Dr. Zaius says Zira and Cornelius will be tried, and Taylor made that possible. He says Taylor can be saved if he tells the truth. Taylor sticks to his story. Dr. Zaius admits he lobotomizes Landon because he could talk and he wanted the truth to be kept from the ape public. Dr. Zaius thinks Taylor comes from a tribe past the Forbidden Zone. Taylor is returned to his cage. A young chimp, Lucius Lou Wagner, who is Zira's nephew, comes with an order to remove Taylor. When Julius becomes suspicious, Lucius and Taylor jump him. Taylor insists that they bring Nova on the escape. They meet Zira outside as she planned the escape. The two chimps and two humans leave Ape City in a horse-drawn wagon. Cornelius meets him on the road with fresh horses and supplies. Taylor takes charge and takes one of the weapons. Cornelius and Zira plan to go to the Forbidden Zone to prove they are not heretics. Nova wants to go back to her jungle home, but Taylor convinces her to go with him. The group of five travel across the desert into the Forbidden Zone until they make it to one of the sweetest dig sites ever. It is a nice dry cave overlooking a beautiful blue ocean with a river nearby. Scaffolding leads up to the cave. Taylor wants to know why it's called the Forbidden Zone, and no one knows. Everyone except Zira heads to the cave, but they are stopped when Dr. Zaius and a group of gorillas ride onto the site. Taylor shoots above Dr. Zaius and he agrees to send the gorillas back, and he comes forward. Lucius is left outside to guard, and he resents being told what to do by older people. In the cave, Cornelius shows Dr. Zaius his evidence and the level that predates the original ape scrolls. There is a human doll at the earlier human level that says Mama. Taylor identifies false teeth, glasses, and a heart valve. They hear gunfire outside. The gorillas have jumped Lucius and stolen the horses. Taylor kills one ape and then tricks Zaius into coming outside. He uses him as a hostage. Lucius says you can't trust the older generation. Taylor sends word to the gorillas that he will trade Dr. Zaius for food and horses for him and Nova. Taylor says man was here first, and Dr. Zaius says, why did man fail if he was superior? Taylor thinks it was environmental. Dr. Zaius admits that he knew about humans all along from part of the Apes scrolls. Dr. Zaius finally admits he fears humans. He says man's wars created the Forbidden Zone. Lucius comes back with the horses and the supplies. Taylor wants to go to find out what happened to his culture in the Forbidden Zone. Taylor reminds Lucius to stay rebellious and never trust anyone over 30. Taylor then kisses Zira goodbye, which I believe is the first interspecies kiss in a movie.
Lucius?
I still say you're making a mistake.
That's the spirit. Keep 'em flying.
What?
The flags of discontent. Remember, never trust anybody over 30. Doctor, I'd like to kiss you goodbye.
All right, but you're so damned ugly.
Dr. Zaius tells Taylor to be careful in the Forbidden Zone because he will not like what he finds.
You're afraid of me and you hate me. Why?
Because you're a man. And you're right. I have always known about man. From the evidence, I believe his wisdom must walk hand in hand with his idiocy. His emotions must rule his brain. He must be a warlike creature who gives battle to everything around him, even himself.
What evidence? There were no weapons in that cave.
The Forbidden Zone was once a paradise. Your breed made a desert of it ages ago.
It still doesn't give me the why. A planet where apes evolved from men? There's got to be an answer.
Don't look for it, Taylor. You may not like what you find.
Dr. Zaius stops the guerrillas from following Taylor and Nova. Dr. Zaius orders the entrance to the cave to be blown up and that Zira and Cornelius will still stand trial. Dr. Zaius says Taylor will find his destiny in the Forbidden Zone.
What will he find out there, Doctor?
His destiny.
Taylor and Nova ride along the beach for some time. Taylor finally sees something protruding from the sand. It is the torch of the Statue of Liberty. Taylor realizes that he has been on Earth the whole time and that humans have destroyed the Earth with wars. The camera pulls back to show the statue as Taylor states, "Maniacs, you finally blew it all up." Taylor screams in despair, "God damn you all to hell."
I'm home. All the time. We finally really did it. You maniacs! You blew it up! Oh, damn you! God damn you all to hell!
The screen fades to black. Notes: John Chambers did the ape makeup using a method he used during World War II to reconstruct the faces of disfigured veterans. There were over 80 makeup artists working on this project. Chambers held training sessions for the other makeup artists. Since there was no category for makeup until 1981, John Chambers was awarded an honorary Oscar. Walter Matthau and a chimpanzee wearing a tuxedo presented the award. Since the makeup took so long to put on, actors and extras could not remove it during breaks. They had to eat liquid through straws and smoke using cigarette holders they were provided. For some reason, the actors and extras tended to self-sort by the species they were made up as. Roddy McDowall, an experienced actor, taught the others to use tics and facial gestures. He can be seen noticeably sniffing during the movie, a habit common to great apes. This movie was rated G, although it contained nudity. The only other time this has happened was in The Bible in the Beginning, 1966. The censors wanted Taylor's triad at the end to be taken out. However, Heston explained that he was not cursing God, he simply called on God to curse them for what they had done, and it was left in this G movie. Now, it is presumed that Taylor and Nova traveled north for a few days before they find the statue. That would mean that most of the events of the movie took place in what was New Jersey. I took basic training in New Jersey. A world ruled by apes? I could see it. Final notes. There are no female gorillas or female orangutans in the movie. No wonder they were so mean. World famous short summary. Boy meets a nice girl while traveling. Hope you enjoyed today's show. You can find connections to social media and email on my site at snarkymoviereviews.com. There are links in the podcast show notes as well. Remember, the show is completely free and independent. All that I ask is that you jump over to iTunes and give me a review. It really helps the show get found. Beware the Moors. Hey, I want to ask you for one more thing. If you enjoyed listening to this show today, send it to one friend. You've got that one friend that'll enjoy it. You know it. They'll get a kick out of it. Send it to them. I appreciate your time.